So my name is Ayush. I'm based out of Singapore, and I manage the technical sales for Intel. So I'll be talking about the Intel's Gaudi platform, or as my friend Michael calls it, this is a more cost-optimized hammer that customers might need at certain stage. So what is the problem that we are trying to solve with the Intel Gaudi? So customers are telling us that they need choice when it comes to hardware, choice when it comes to the different kind of use cases that they believe they can monetize when it comes to the AI workloads. So Gaudi offers these choice to our customers. Secondly, when we look at how the AI stacks are being rolled out, there is a lot of siloed approach when it comes to the entire stack. So Gaudi is one platform which is without any lock-ins in terms of the software. So we work very closely with all the open source software providers and enablers like Red Hat to make sure that the customers get a choice when it comes to deploying these solutions into their production environment. Lastly, it's all about scaling. How can we scale Gaudi clusters for those large language models as well as for small language models? So Gaudi uses standard Ethernet-based architecture for building those scale-out clusters so that customers do not have to be forced to use a proprietary network stack. Lastly, it's all about efficiency. It's about tokens per dollar or dollar and tokens per watt. So how does customers get an advantage when they look at those key business SLAs? Now, in terms of the Gaudi's architecture, it has been designed to deliver very efficient performance. So if you look at the numbers here, for example, the HBM capacity in Gaudi is 128 GB. The other competitor out there, which is H100, has an HBM of 80 GB. So what this means is, but having a large HBM memory, we are reducing the costly memory to GPU or AI accelerator cycles. So that's one big advantage where you can get really performing systems without those costly memory cycles. Plus, it's based on, as I said, it comes with built-in standard Ethernet ports, which can give you almost 24 times 200 GBE, equivalent to any large NVLink cluster that is out there in the market. Now, in terms of model support, that's one of the big questions that come up from customers as to all those large models are being designed for a particular architecture. So will Gaudi deliver those out-of-box support for the different models? And this is where I'm super excited to share that as Intel, we have doubled up our software engineering efforts to make sure we support all the popular model families. Along with that, all the major orchestration system vendors, and as well as the popular ones like Red Hat OpenShift, to make sure that operators who are deploying these AI clusters get the same familiar environment as and when they're managing those clusters. So they can manage Gaudi just like any other compute resource from their OpenShift environment. And plus, we are also working with a lot of the ISVs to make sure that we are able to deliver day zero support for these popular models. So we collaborate closely with Meta, we collaborate closely with Microsoft, as well as all the other major ISVs to give day zero support for all the popular models. And as I said, our collaboration with Red Hat is really what is driving a very large adoption for Gaudi-based systems, because customers can use the same familiar OpenShift AI ecosystem to build the models as well as to deploy these models at scale. Now, here are some performance numbers that I can share. So if you look at its performance in terms of not just raw tokens, but also performance per dollar. We have not added performance per watt, but if you also compare from a electricity, even an idle power consumption, there is a clear advantage when customers used an Intel-based platform for AI inferences. And here is a similar comparison for a very large model like 70 billion for the Llama family. And again, it's comparing the popular H100 models. So with this, I'd like to invite my dear friend Vuti as we begin the panel discussion on how customers are leveraging this architecture along with Red Hat OpenShift to deliver real cost-effective solutions.
Okay.
Thanks.
So first of all, I'm Wuti. So I'm heading the telco COE in Southeast Asia and Korea. Yeah, please take a seat. So it's very insightful information that we got from Intel side, right? Especially with the silicon chipset of Gaudi, and basically it's emphasized on the AI capabilities, right? And I still remember when we're talking about Intel, we're talking about what? Intel Inside, right? But today we're gonna talk about Intel and Red Hat Inside. Okay, let's go on this. You already mentioned about the capabilities.
Yep.
So I think I would like to start with what first.
Sure.
So how important of this capability that Intel bring in with this new silicon chipset?
Okay. So I think this collaboration with Red Hat and as well as Intel, the idea is we want to operationalize as well as democratize AI by integrating Intel's low-cost inference capabilities into a platform where customers are already deploying some of their most critical workloads. So if I look at, there are three key strategies as to what we are trying to do. We are trying to meet customers where they are today. So if you look at today, customers are running their most critical workloads on an scalable and secure platform like Red Hat OpenShift, right? So now instead of creating a separate stack, we are infusing AI capabilities into the customer's existing OpenShift foundation so that the whole time to market can be reduced. Okay, that's the number one. The second pillar of the strategy is we want to solve the complete AI equation. So while model training and model fine-tuning is critical, but the real challenge is how do we deploy these models at scale across the entire AI continuum? So at the data center, at the edge, and now we also talked about at the RAN side, right? So by leveraging that OpenShift's scale-out architecture, we can easily deploy models at those different locations where they can best serve the ROI. Lastly, it's all about championing that open ecosystem, right? Customers are really, really excited about this partnership between two partners who are so passionate about open ecosystem that they can now, so they're not worried that, oh, we are locking ourselves to this proprietary stack. We now have a choice where we are, leverage the different advancements that are happening in the open source space. And we have partners who are delivering us a production grade solution to address those challenges.
Okay, well said. And I think you also, not only what, right, and also why also on the why Intel together with Red Hat. And that's part of the answer, Intel and Red Hat Inside. So that's my theme for today. So keep listening to this one. Okay, and with that, I think it's kind of a good baseline and platform, right, that we work together between Intel and Red Hat. Can you bring in some example? What is the important on this collaboration between Intel and Red Hat that we have, and how important of this toward the customer?
Okay, so in terms of this collaboration, why it is important. So as I said, it's customers are now, we are in active discussions with customers who are deploying this Red Hat OpenShift platform with Intel Gaudi on certain use cases where they see that clear ROI. So number one is being on self-assist or AI-assisted self-care. That's one of the big use cases where customers have experimented this and they saw the real benefits of how they are able to reduce the customer churn, as well as, in some cases, even cut down the costs that were associated with retaining a customer. So that's one use case, and that is across, it's horizontal. So not just limited to telcos, but the larger enterprises. Now, when it comes to the telco space, what we are really seeing is that there are numerous use cases, innovative use cases that are come up, where customers are working closely with both Intel and Red Hat, specifically on the edge use case. So edge as in is being used not just for the, when we call edge, our vision is MECs and others, but here the edge is being used to deliver low cost inference as a service. Okay. So, that could be model as a service, or that could be as infrastructure as a service. Now, this is all part of the sovereign AI discussions that we are having in different countries because of the regulations, right? The other important part, and which is very exciting, is how we can use AI in the overall RAN ecosystem space. So by making sure that our customers can get a or able to deploy a solution which delivers them those powerful savings that they want to achieve from their RAN infrastructure. Now that could be based on AI native radio intelligent controllers, which can really monitor the exact usage and observe the traffic and then take decisions that, okay, now is the time that I need to do certain form of beamforming or maybe tilt my radio stations to certain stage so that they can focus on specific circles. The other idea could be in power saving. So can I again use the intelligence gained from on ground by observing the traffic patterns, my network congestions, my QoS qualities, and then take a dynamic decision that maybe these cells can be switched off or these cells can be powered on to cater to the upcoming traffic or taking into account the history as it happened. Okay. So these are some of the use cases where we are seeing a very tight collaboration with the customers. Customers are opening up on their use case, their challenges, and the expectations. And what we, Red Hat and Intel, are doing, we are starting with the problem first. So let's identify what is the business problem. Let's identify what is the end goal that we want to achieve together with our customers, and then design a solution which can meet those requirements. So that could be based on a GPU-based accelerator, that could be based on a Gaudi accelerator, or that could also be based on a CPU-based acceleration, as we talked about. Because you do not need a dedicated accelerator for every use case, right? We have to look at the constraints available in terms of power, in terms of the desired end result, and then decide what is the right hardware architecture, what is the right software architecture, what kind of models we need to support the use cases. Sorry for the long answer.
No. That's a very interesting information and very insightful, right? And that's come to the summary that I can capture from that one. That's the power of Intel and Red Hat Insight also, right? So having said that, since today our audience is coming from a telco industry, right? Partner and customer. So let's drill down a little bit into what is in it. What is in it for customer and partner in telco context?
Yeah, so in the telco context, as I said, one big piece is the AI in the RAN space. The other space being in the whole customer prevention, customer churn reduction. The other interesting piece is on the whole cybersecurity space. Cybersecurity, why? Because we have seen that even some of the malicious actors are taking advantage of AI, right? Because earlier, the challenge was being limited from, or the malicious actors were limited because of the available compute power. But with AI, that equation has been solved to some extent, right? So now even the malicious actors have access to the latest models, they have access to the latest hardware infrastructure, and they are building on their strategies to bypass, systems which are built on traditional methodologies. So this is where having an efficient system, which is again powered by the right hardware and the right software ingredients, telcos are using AI-driven practices even in the cybersecurity space, so that we can take preventive actions, we can govern, what rules are needed at my edge side, what rules are needed at my core side, to make sure that those malicious actors are not able to bypass all the protections that have been kept in place.
Okay. Yeah, very well said, right? So that's kind of I believe, as you mentioned at the beginning, it's like the thought process is starting from the problem. Yes. So it's like whatever that ongoing process is just to tackle the problem that we have in the industry, right? All right. So last but not least, so since we limited of time, right? So do you have any kind of a key takeaway? Maybe a couple of them. So what important of this for the customer and partner?
Sure. I think one key takeaway that I would like to share with our customers and partners is that whenever we look at AI, so think of AI as another workload. And like always, start with the business problem first. What is the business problem that we are trying to solve? And what is the end objective in terms of the business KPIs and technical KPIs that we want to achieve? And then we have partners like Red Hat and Intel to deliver you a very efficient and power optimized solution to make sure that all your business KPIs as well as technical KPIs are met. So this is the collaboration that we have between Intel and Red Hat, which can really help our customers and partners unlock all the potential that AI has to offer for different use cases. Thank you so much.
All right, with that, thank you very much, Ayush.